Welcome friends, Johnny here, also known as Okiro, here to talk about my art journey and hopefully I can provide some tips, tricks, inspiration to help you along yours, and we can grow together. Whew, boy, things have been really rough with my mental lately. My motivation's shot, my eating habits have been
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
But let's start with the fun little exercise I like to do before we dig into the mental. This is how I like to practice drawing emotions. What I like to do is... The idea is pretty simple. Just take a bunch of pictures of your face doing different things. So let's take a couple of different shots. I try and mix things up by angle, lighting, using my hands, and just hammering them out. You can definitely focus on specific things, like either rendering a nice head, or focusing on pushing your proportions, or playing with lighting and shapes. Remember to just try your best and try not to just copy exactly what you see. Copying doesn't teach you anything. Solving a problem hardwires things into your brain faster. For example, I don't really have a realistic style, nor is it something that I'm really into. So one of the things I like to do with these is try to make it look like me, but in a more like cartoony style. But one of the things that I really wanted to focus on this time was figuring out lighting and how you kind of transition between a light tone and a mid-tone and a dark tone. So I tried to break down those lights and shadows into very basic shapes after I sketched all these heads out, which you can start to see here in just a moment after I sketched out a couple of faces that I picked from my favorites. So let's talk motivation. It's so great to have when you have it, but I think it's one of the hardest things to recover from once you lose it. So how do we get it back? I know I'm not the only one who will sometimes just get absolutely paralyzed from even the thought of picking up a pencil. Things start to spiral and I think about things like, what's the point? Am I not making any progress? There's so many people who are better than me. I don't have any followers on Instagram or Twitter or anything. Why even put into all of this work when no one is even gonna bother looking at it? Something that has really helped me is I try to visualize it as like a spiral or a cycle, something that needs to be broken. So when I'm about to pick up a pen to draw and stop, I take a step back, take a long deep breath, and just think, what is stopping me right now? Is it something as simple as thinking you don't have enough time? Is it some sort of societal pressure? Is it guilt? Is it anxiety? Is it all of the above? Then I use a cognitive therapy based method where that cycle is broken up into either a feeling, a behavior, or a thought. And since any of one of those things can start a chain of events that starts a cycle or a spiral, you will try to break it or change it. So say if I'm feeling sad, then that starts up a sad thought, which can lead to a sad behavior, and then you're back to feeling sad again, and then it's just an endless loop. So try your best to recognize what's causing that thing that's stopping you. If it's a behavior, try changing your thoughts. If it's a thought, try changing your behavior or feeling. For example, I know like many of you, I really struggle with feeling like I need a huge following or be working at a AAA studio to be successful. And realized to myself, I actually have it pretty good. I mean, I'm doing art at a game studio now. It's not a big one. It allows me to do both my job and focus on my own work independently. I love everybody who works there. You know, it's pretty great. Or that there are plenty of people who have no social media at all and are absolutely just working their hardest and making their own things and creating huge waves wherever they go. For example, I started before quarantine happened and COVID happened and everybody was locked down, a figure drawing class on Sundays in my local art center. It was just an hour every Sunday, and I came in and I had never met any of these folks before. Most of them just had, like family Facebooks. They were just doing art for themselves, and it was just such a big eye-opener that there were so many people who were just doing art for the sake of art and not for the appeal or for the follow or the fame that follows with it for social media stuff. And I think it's really important to remember that the art that we see online that gains a really big following isn't necessarily always just like fan art of something or art for a game studio, but it's art that came from somebody who really loved what they were doing and poured their heart and soul into it, and you can absolutely tell when somebody does that. You really have to rely on your own growth and path, because in the end, you can't control how other people receive your work, but if you enjoy what you're creating and are proud of the hard work you put into it, there's nobody who can take that away from you. It's also much easier to put in a lot of hard work into a piece of art if it's a subject or an idea that came straight from you or it's something that you love. I know for me personally, recently I posted up a lot of original work. Didn't even get double-digit likes, but they were my ideas and I finished them and it felt absolutely great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you did the exercises yourself, I'd love to check them out. So if you can click on the links in the description to follow me on Instagram or Twitter and tag me on those, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you could follow the frogs to like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. So until next time, take care and goodbye.